Hello, beloveds. It's so good to be with you here today. I missed you last week, and so we pivoted, and Susan and Delon stepped in beautifully. I've heard great things about them. Let's give them some love. They were awesome, right? Yeah, that's really great. So we're continuing the December Seed of Awakening, living as wholeness. Thank you again for kicking us off last week again. And this week is all about recognizing wholeness, seeing the good in all. Now, that was what it was about. And then Spirit took me on this journey, and I had some other things come up that were like, well, let's talk about this. It's so funny how that works, you know? You have a plan, and then Spirit steps in, and it's like, how about this? You're like, okay. Do you guys say okay, or do you just kick and scream and resist? Right? Yeah, right. So wholeness is the truth of our being. It is the essence of who we are, which has never been violated in any way. And so there's nothing lacking in Spirit. Spirit is whole and complete, and we are one with Spirit. Therefore, we also are whole and complete, right? Now, the truth about each individual is that Spirit lives through every life, and the entirety of Spirit is contained in each life. That means all that you are is God, but you are not all that God is. So there is a greater presence, right? And we are made in the image and likeness of it. We are the same, made of the same stuff. And so the important thing for us to remember as we navigate this journey of wholeness this month is really that there is nothing to heal necessarily, only more God to reveal in your life. And so you may have noticed that whatever is going on in your life, if you're, feeling sad or not liking it or whatever, that as you resist it and push it kind of away, rather than feel it and embrace it, we create suffering in ourselves, right? And that suffering is that friction, but once we actually accept what's going on, then that makes room for God, because then we are not fighting it, right? Because how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if we're resisting, we're also resisting the divine. And we don't want to do that, right? We want to open up and allow the divine to shine, to illuminate every single cell of our body, to allow us to thrive and experience the wholeness that we already are. So healing is a revelation of wholeness, a revelation of your divine perfection. It's realizing the perfect person that is in you. There is a perfect person that is in you. Now, our work is to mentally uncover this ever-present reality, this changeless and eternal perfection. So, by the way, we support all choices and healing methods here. And so knowing that all is the work of the divine in action, Ernest Holmes explained, hey, we're open at the top. And we're receptive to all new ideas and ways of thinking about how Spirit reveals itself in this life. And so Ernest Holmes invites us to suppose that we are told that a beautiful sparkling gem ring, he said sparkling diamond, but it's not really PC, right? Your favorite gemstone, whatever it is, right? Imagine, or, ethically correct diamond, whatever. Imagine that is at the bottom of a trunk, and the trunk is filled with rubbish. And it was to be ours when we succeeded in uncovering it. So we go to this trunk and we start taking everything out, right? So should we care what the method is to remove the rubbish? Not really. It's just about getting that rubbish out, right? The main thing is to find that sparkling gemstone that's in there, to get to it. Now, we should feel justified in using any method which would enable us to do this. And this is equally true in our spiritual mind healing, right? So we must uncover this perfect person within us. We must remove every obstruction of thought which denies its presence. Now, remembering there's nothing to heal, only more of God to reveal. So whether it's Western medicine, Eastern medicine, Reiki, Ayurveda, crystal bowls, tarot cards, sweat lodges, silent retreats, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, whatever floats your spiritual boat, right? There's so many others, Whatever it is that's going to have you connect to that place within you and allow the divine to shine and have you be aware that it's shining through you, right? Now, I love that Ernest Holmes would spend time sitting and thinking, examining his mind and his thought patterns to reveal whatever those false thoughts were so that he could replace them with true thoughts of divine perfection. So powerful. As Plato said, an unexamined life is not worth living. And so the body is a mighty and magnificent machine with the amazing capacity to heal itself. Right? Now, given the right environment, as I was preparing this talk, Spirit's writing this talk through me, right? And it's like, yeah, but what about my mom who's currently in hospice, It's the right, it's got to be in the right environment. The body is a mighty and magnificent machine with the capacity to heal itself. So I remember a few years ago, I was doing some wood splitting at our other location, and I somehow managed to fall into one of those green yard debris trash cans. Those? Just fell right into it. I know, it's huge, right? So I love that you're laughing. Thank you. I had cuts, and I put Band-Aids over them, which at the time appeared to be pretty deep cuts, And in just 3 days, they were completely gone. And I was amazed by that. There was no evidence that it had even happened. So this reminds me that our bodies are healing themselves right now. But it's up to us to heal our thoughts. While our bodies are healing themselves, we've got to heal our thoughts, the thoughts that are floating around in our minds, most of which were not thought consciously by us. Have you ever had a thought and thought, where did that come from? Why did I think that? Like, who is that, right? It's my mom or my dad or something I saw on TV at some point? Yes, you're with me. So most of the thoughts were not consciously thought by us, and most of which the same thoughts that floated through our minds yesterday and the day before. All the same thoughts, So the invitation for us is to realize that the time is now to think anew, to fill our minds with godness, with goodness, to speak words of truth, and to think of things which make us and other people glad and happy. This is how we will heal the sick, raise the dead, and feed the hungry, like Jesus. We can practice high mysticism by saying, "Rise up, my soul," and heal the sick wherever I walk. Show people how to be strong. Make people love God. Quicken me with heavenly fervor. Show me the finished kingdom through which I walk. Show me the words that make the world glad and happy, and our soul will answer, I can do all that and more. So repeat after me, rise up, my soul.
Rise up, my soul.
And heal the sick wherever I walk.
And heal the sick wherever I walk.
Show people how to be strong.
Show people how to be strong.
Make people love God.
Make people love God.
Quicken me with heavenly fervor.
Quicken me with heavenly fervor.
Show me the finished kingdom through which I walk.
Show me the finished kingdom through which I walk.
Show me the words that make the world glad and happy.
Show me the words that make the world glad and happy.
And our soul will answer,
And our soul will answer,
I can do all that and more.
I can do all that and more.
And so it is.
So it is.
So powerful, yes? All right. I want to talk a little bit about miracles, but first I'm going to grab a little sip of water. So Darren Brown is an English mentalist and illusionist with a show called Darren Brown Miracle. I watched the show a few years ago on Netflix. Has anybody seen it? I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but you got to look for this. Darren Brown, English mentalist. Now, he performs several miracle healings in an effort to debunk the evangelical healings from the laying of hands, and people actually experience healings on his show. It has the opposite effect of what he was thinking it would, right? But I thought it was so cool, and later we find out that the healings could be the result of creating a rush of adrenaline in people combined with their own expectations and belief in the potential for the healing. So you come in and you think, I'm going to get a healing from this guy, right? It's going to work. And it works. That's fascinating, isn't it? All that we ask is that you remain open to the possibility of changing your entire life by changing your mind. That's what that means. So it's fascinating. Now, my favorite part of the show was a healing that one man experienced with pain in his chest area and some breathing issues. Darren had the man attempt to pick up a suitcase on stage, and he was unable to do so. Now, he unzipped the suitcase and showed the man that it was filled with bricks and explained, look, don't worry, nobody has ever been able to lift up this suitcase. It's full of bricks. And he takes the man to the side, and then he says a very powerful affirmative prayer, claiming strength for him, strength of God, and then has him return to the suitcase to try to lift it up again, just 1 inch off of the ground. Well, the man lifts up the suitcase 4 to 5 inches from the ground and walks across the stage carrying it. This is the power of suggestion and belief. What do you think? What are you thinking about, you know? We just completed foundations, and they're such great students, and they are repeating my little mantras like, what you think about, you bring about. It's that, right? What we think about, we bring about. So what are we thinking about? The miracle is the fact that a lifetime of chronic pain can disappear in an instant when we begin to tell ourselves a different story. The moment you entertain the notion that a healing might be moving through the room, the symptoms can just go. I'm going to say that again. Lean in. The moment you entertain the notion that a healing might be moving through the room, the symptoms can just go. This is the power that we have as human beings. That is a miracle. It's a miracle. So there are stories that we tell ourselves every day about who we are, and we can change that story at any time. It's not the events in our lives that cause problems, but our reactions to them. By problems, I mean suffering, right? So the Roman philosopher Epictetus walked this planet 2,000 years ago. Said that there are things in your life you are in control of, and there are things in your life that you are not in control of. If we stop trying to change the things that we are not able to control anyway, we will remove a whole lot of pointless frustration and anxiety from our lives. He added that there are only 2 things that you are in control of: your thoughts and your actions. Everything else, what other people think, what they do, how they behave, you can't control any of that anyway. So if you stop trying to fix it or change it in some way and decide that anything on that side is fine and just let it go, nothing bad happens. You just feel happier and lighter, like you've just put down a big suitcase of heavy bricks. Yeah. So if you think about it, it's a miracle that we're even here right now, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. Each one of us, as opposed to some other permutation of DNA, right? Wow. What are the chances that you even exist? And what does that even mean? One of your father's 12 trillion sperm with half your name on it just happening to collide with one of your mother's thousands of eggs with the other half of your name on it, met up, and it's not just your parents having you, it had to be specifically your particular grandparents having specifically your parents, and you've got to multiply those odds down every generation of human or humanoid kind, right? You are undeniably at one end of your very own perfect, unbroken ancestral chain that starts with you and goes back to the very first single-celled organism 7 billion years ago. Wow. Right? That's a miracle. That is a miracle, you guys. Remember that when we tell ourselves we're fat or unhappy with our lives or not good enough or whatever it is, right? Knowing this, we can tell ourselves a different story about it and be kinder to ourselves. And as we are kinder to ourselves, we are naturally kinder to others. So everyone is dragging around their own heavy suitcase filled with bricks. The present moment is the only time we have to be perfectly vibrant and whole. Leave the bricks behind, yes? Now I want to share a little bit about Hanukkah. Excuse me. Hanukkah started on the 7th and ends on the 15th. And so, for those of you that don't know, there's a Hanukkah menorah that holds 8 candles. Everyone has seen a menorah, right? Okay. It holds 8 candles, and according to Jewish tradition, after the Maccabees' victory over the Greeks, there was only enough oil to burn for 1 day in the temple. But miraculously, the oil burned for 8 days. And so the menorah lighting actually commemorates this miracle. And the 9th candle is the candle that is raised on the menorah or in the center, and it's called the shamash. Shamash. Now the shamash is considered the helper candle or the Hanukkah. And it is lit before the prayers are said and the other candles are lit. It is then used to light the other candles. Now we are each like the shamash as we bring our light wherever we go and ignite the light in others. Sometimes being the shamash is simply being present, being lighthearted or easygoing or offering a smile or any other ordinary miracle you can imagine. I love that Ernest Holmes observed, "My body is illumined by the light of God." It's like a 1 billion megawatt bulb. Wow, that's bright. As we shine our lights bright and ignite the light in others, the whole world gets more radiant and glows with the divine. So shine, baby, shine. This light is within you, and you are like the shamash, lighting, lifting, and raising others. And so it's up to us to own that light, and to shine it to all. So happy Hanukkah, Hanukkah blessings to anyone here who celebrates it. We love you. We thank God for you. And so just to wrap it up this morning, healing is a revelation of wholeness, a revelation of your divine perfection. This divine perfection is within you, as you. It is you. There is a beautiful, ethical, and conflict-free diamond or other gemstone within each of us that wants to sparkle and shine, to radiate out to all, including to ourselves. Will we let that happen? It's up to us to dig through that rubbish. You guys know the rubbish I'm talking about. Whatever the thoughts are that you tell yourself that aren't true. They're not true. Whatever that rubbish is. Dig through it and find that sparkling gem. Reveal it and let it shine out to others. The world needs your light. Now, I love what Emma Curtis Hopkins said, which was the quickest way to get your healing power going is to raise and praise everything and everyone in the name of love. So I invite you now to turn to the person next to you or near you and say, I raise you and I praise you in the name of love. I raise you and I praise you in the name of love. And now turn to someone else. All right. And now put your hand over your own heart and say to yourself, I raise you and I praise you in the name of love. I raise you and I praise you in the name of love. All right. That's absolutely a tool you can carry forward through the rest of the week. Now, there's a few questions that you can ask yourself this week to ponder and journal about. And number one is, how can I consciously recognize the wholeness of others as I go about my day? What reminders or signals can I develop? For example, can I make a practice of seeing the good, the wholeness of other drivers every time we stop at a traffic light? Or when you're in the shopping zones, right? Think of someone in your life with whom you are at odds. Purposefully see the good in them, recognize their wholeness, and consider a challenge you're facing, something that you would pray about. And in your prayer, pray for all the other people who are facing a similar challenge. Now, before we move into our prayer, I know that you all are wondering how my mom is doing, and she has moved into hospice and comfort care. And this is part of the wholeness too, right? And I know I resisted it. It's so fascinating what we do in our minds, right? Like maybe if we don't face or accept it, it's not going to happen. But in the acceptance, what I have found for myself is absolutely the divine steps in. And it's like, are you ready to dance? Here we go. And then the frustrations, this person says this person says that. Have you read my mom's chart? What are you talking about? Confusion. And you guys, is anybody familiar with all that frustration? And you're just confused, right? But in those moments of confusion, we can stand in the truth and know that I am accepting this and I can go to God. I can come to the divine. I can turn it over to the divine and allow that light to be present, right? And so that's kind of where we're at, you know, and honoring mom's wishes. And she would probably hate that I'm talking about her, so I'm going to move on from that. But my brother's here today. Yay, Donnie. And so, you know, it's about standing in that and honoring the whole process. And as Epictetus reminded us, stop trying to change the things you can't change. We're in finite bodies. Our souls are eternal, but the body temple is finite. There's an expiration date, right? And I was just thinking this week, I need to enjoy every meal that I have, because you just never know. Right? It sneaks up on you sometimes, you know? It sneaks up. So enjoy yourself. Be present to all of the goodness in your life and all of the love that is here right now, even when it's hard. And know that you are loved and you are perfect exactly as you are. And I, for one, am so happy to be here today. There was a little bit of like, well, are you sure we should go? Shouldn't we be over there? And you guys are my people. Spiritual community, this is what we do. Your love and smiles and presence. I know I'm going to get a lot of hugs afterwards. We need that. We need each other. So look around this room and just look into everyone's eyes and see who you're swimming in this ocean of devotion with as I invite Travis to come on up and prepare for our closing song. Oh, we're actually going to do the closing prayer. All right, so just take things out of your lap and do what I call the religious science shuffle, which is, shake it out like Taylor Swift. Shake it off. Shake it off. Scratch your nose. And join me in either closing your eyes if that feels comfortable for you, or you can rest your gaze gently a few feet in front of you, or maybe out on the lake as we return to this beautiful, expansive space within. And this is the space where I know and remember with every fiber of my being that, yes, spirit is all that there is. It is all that there ever was, and it is all that there ever will be. And I am one with it right now. And as I identify with it, I experience a merging. I experience like a mystical union. And in this mystical union, I am connected to everyone that came before me. Everyone. All the people, all the pets, all the friends, everyone, every experience. And I'm so grateful for this. And I'm so grateful that as I continue to seek the divine in everything, I find it. And in the seeking and the finding, I experience wholeness. I remember there is nowhere that spirit is not. It is here now, expressing itself in me, as me, and through me. And it is expressing itself in, as, and through each one of us. And it loves us exactly as we are, and it wouldn't change one thing about you. Spirit even says, I raise you and I praise you in the name of love, my beloved. Shine your light. Be bright. You are bright. Allow that brightness to shine. And so I know that we carry this bright light out into the world as we leave this service this morning. And everyone we come in contact with is lit up by that divine light. And it is so good. And I am so grateful. And so with great gratitude, I release this prayer into the loving and creative action of the law where I know it is done. And I invite you to help me anchor this truth by saying with me, and so it is. Yes. Thank you.